All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Special Events Committee. We have, I think, a few more folks are tuning in and watching us this morning. There's a lot of interest in what's happening in the community in light of increased community spread. We've been talking from the very beginning of reopening our special events process that we were going to be following the best science we had, that we were going to be watching the pandemic and making sure that we were doing everything that we could to protect the health and safety of our community. So because we have more folks watching this morning, I probably, just so that everybody knows, we'll talk a little bit more about what our processes are and how this committee works and doesn't work, so folks can really understand the way in which we're making decisions, the way in which event organizers interact, not only with the city of Boise, but with the organizations represented around the table. So we will start with introductions, and then before we get into our presentations, I'll chat just a little bit about what that process looks like and where we are in terms of community health and safety around the pandemic, which is one of the considerations that we make when we look at these different kinds of events. So I'll start. I'm Maria Waig with the Office of Community Engagement here at the City of Boise. And then let's go back to Ed.
Ed Graves, Public Works.
Shane Anderson, Boise City Parking.
Natasha Fernie, Central District Health.
Summer Altieri, Boise Parks and Rec.
Heather Lyle, Downtown Boise Association.
Jesse Tappert, Boise Fire Department.
Mike Hill, Boise Police.
Dwight Kirkland, Boise Police.
Rachel Holford, City of Boise Emergency Management.
Kelly Frank, City Clerk's Office.
Jamie Heinz-Owing, City Clerk's Office.
And Maria, if you would like me to, I can call roll for the people on Zoom. Okay. So let's see, on Zoom, we do have Valley Regional Transit, Leslie Pedroza, and Ada County Highway District, John Lawson, Boise Police Department, Sergeant Matt Konvalinka, and Boise City Risk Management, Sydney Murphy.
Great, thank you. So just a little bit before we go into our event presenters. I know this is a really high interest topic today. We've got several events that are before us to talk about the events that the special events that they're hosting. We also have a few big events that are coming down the pike that are awaiting approval from different entities represented around the table. So we have this process in place for a reason. We had it in place for a reason before the pandemic. And we've added a few considerations since the pandemic. Many of you will remember that we stopped special events entirely when there was no vaccine, when we still needed more information about how effective masking was, how effective physical distancing was. And then once the vaccine came online, we understood just how impactful masking is and physical distancing is. We reinstated the special events process. That process is convened by the City of Boise, but takes into account a lot of organizations around the Valley who are responsible for protecting the health and safety of our community, from Central District Health to Boise Police and Fire, to Ada County Emergency Services and paramedics, our clerks that make sure that the businesses that are involved are following health and safety precautions, traffic control with ACHD to make sure that events aren't closing down major swaths of public roads and causing disruption to that event. So event organizers are asked to fill out several different pieces of information before a special event is permitted through these different entities. Since the pandemic, one of the partnerships that we have had with Central District Health is that event organizers are asked to fill out paperwork there and let the public health organization know that they are planning an event. In the same way that they're asked to submit, if it's relevant, traffic control plans, to work with BPD on ensuring that they've got adequate public safety measures in place. We've seen our crowd sizes changing, the makeup changing, and we want to make sure that Boise Police is fully aware of the impacts to public safety with any events we may have. Boise Fire does a terrific job making sure that events maintain access for emergency vehicles and that they understand what the coverage is going to be. We also, in addition to many of the requirements that we ask of event organizers, we also have a lot of recommendations, mostly from the city around all kinds of things that meet our strategic priorities. So you oftentimes hear us talk about what kind of water bottles, for example, what kind of recycling, what kind of trash an event is going to need. And we encourage events to take all of these things into consideration. What is their climate impact going to be? What is their footprint going to be? And since COVID has come around, when we were under a public health order, there were several requirements based on the public health order. We're no longer under a public health order, but we're still having conversations with our event organizers about how to ensure the best public health and safety for participants in the event. At the end of the day, when event organizers have met all of the requirements of the different organizations represented by the Special Events Committee, and those organizations sign up, the events are held, and we really rely strongly on the event organizers to follow the precautions and the requirements that we have provided to them in offline conversations and in this meeting. Sometimes event organizers do a better job in that than others. We rarely have instances where one of our recommendations isn't followed or one of our requirements isn't followed. When that does happen, we note that and make sure that we bring it up when they come back in front of us. About 95% of our events are recurring events, so we have good relationships with the event organizers. We are, as government entities, tasked with the health and safety of our residents and making sure that we're taking care of them and that event organizers are following the rules. We've also seen a lot of our events proactively take steps on their own. So for example, Pride Fest, which is set for this weekend, is requiring proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. They're also doing things like using electric generators rather than diesel generators. They're asking people to mask up in large outdoor events. Tree Fort is doing something really similar. We're really excited to see these events taking the health and safety of our community really seriously, while being able to provide some of the events that that folks in Boise have missed so much. So we're going to continue to ask as strongly as we can for our community to act. And we know Boise has done that, right? Boise has some of the highest vaccination rates in Ada County and in fact in the state. Get vaccinated, wear a mask indoors, and definitely outdoors when you can't maintain physical distance, right? So we know masking works very, very well, very efficiently. Masking plus vaccination works really, really well. So to the extent that our community is acting, that our event organizers are taking that really seriously and encouraging their participants. The events that I mentioned before have been communicating a lot about their desire to see folks be vaccinated, requiring vaccinations, asking folks to mask up. We really rely on a great partnership between our event organizers, event participants, and the organizations that are represented around the table. So we don't take any votes today in this meeting. We go around the table, we ask questions of our event organizers. Different agencies talk about the information that they're still waiting before they can sign off on the different events. You'll hear us talk a lot about a lot of different things, give different recommendations, but that's just a little bit about the process and where we're at right now. And again, if you have additional questions beyond what you hear in this committee meeting about a specific event, we encourage you to talk to event organizers directly to hear about the precautions that they're putting in place specific to their event. So with that, the first part of our agenda is hearing from events that are before this committee, before these agencies, so that they can talk a little bit about their event, and then we can go around the room and ask questions specific to each agency's jurisdiction. So first up, I think we have Missy via Zoom to talk about Prost Oktoberfest.
Hi there. Okay. You don't want my video on, right? No. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, cool. Hello, everybody. So obviously, normally we take up the whole northern section of the 8th Street block between Idaho and Bannock. This year, my goals for doing an Oktoberfest event are to host a socially responsible one and just add a couple of the bells and whistles of Oktoberfest of our usual event, like having a band and a grill. So the map that I submitted kind of just shows we're really just want to put out a stage. I replaced the beer tent with the grill and just have a couple extra tables.
Missy, do you want to go on ahead and turn your camera on for us?
Oh, I did. It said it wouldn't let me. Oh, okay. There we go. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yep.
And if you could just give us a little bit of history, introduce yourself, who you're with, and the history of the event, that would be helpful too. And then we'll get into this year's plan.
Okay. Did you guys hear what I just said already?
Yes.
Okay. So that is the history of the event. We've been doing it for, obviously we didn't do it last year, so this will be technically our 4th year. We usually do take the northern part of the block on 8th Street between Idaho and Bannock, and we close down the street. We have a band, set up a whole bunch of tables, have a beer tent, a food tent. It is a separate space of our Prost location, but it's right outside. Obviously, it's COVID. We're trying to be responsible. I'm not trying to have a big party. We just wanted to, bring a couple of the fun things that we usually have, being the band.
Oh, Missy, we lost you. Can you still hear us? See if we can get her back. The joys of Zoom hybrid meetings.
Looks
Sorry,
like you're back, Missy. Sorry, we lost you for just a moment.
it's okay.
So go ahead and resume.
Okay, so as I was saying, it's a really small footprint, really small little event that we're trying to do. So I don't have a lot more to present on it besides that. Mostly just to see with obviously all of the entities with the city, what I can and cannot do. So do you want me to just ask my questions of the questions I'm wondering, or do you guys just want to fire away?
Let's start with going around the room. Do you have a visual of the footprint?
Yeah. So Kelly, you guys have it there. Are you guys not looking at it? Sorry, I'm not familiar with how to do these on Zoom. I mean, I
do have it. I will get it up in just a
Okay.
moment. I wasn't sure if you were ready.
Thank you.
Great.
Not very proficient at Zoom performance.
That's all right. Why don't we start by going around the room? Ed, do you want to start?
Hi, Missy. Oh,
Looks like we've lost her again. Missy, I don't know if you can hear us, but maybe log out and log back in again. So while we're waiting to join Missy, maybe we can take a look at kind of the map. Kelly, is that something you can walk us through?
Yeah. So the establishment Prost is on 8th Street between Idaho and Bannock, abutting against the alley there. And that's the footprint that Missy wants to extend from her establishment into the street.
Great. It looks like we have Missy back.
Yes. Sorry. I will say at this point, I actually want to move it and put the stage on the northern part and just put the grill right by the alley and then just have a couple tables. Like I said, I don't want to do 8 tables anymore. I just would like to have, I think, between 3 and 4, and mostly just because I feel like if it's just a stage and a grill out there, it's just kind of weird to have that on the street and not have anything else aesthetically. So yes, that is my plan. So I think it would take even less, and that's only going to be outside of Wild Root. So obviously my big questions would be on this one, which we've pushed every year, and obviously this is different. If we can actually just come directly off of our existing footprint of Prost and just include this in our space and not have a break between, because obviously that would affect if we have to have beer out there. I was
Would you rather have her call back in? Potentially. I did check with IT and it doesn't appear to be a network issue on our side. It looks like it might be on her side, and according to them. So.
All right, so we're going to try to communicate. Missy, we're going to see if we can't get a little bit better network connection on your side because you keep freezing on us. So it's tricky for you and tricky for us.
I'm sorry, I do manager meetings multiple times a week, and this has not happened. So I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening on my side.
No worries. Do you want to, while we're looking at the map, maybe why don't we try this? Why don't you try turning off your camera and seeing if we can keep you a little longer without your camera?
Okay.
And then Missy, while we have you, if we lose you again, if you would call in using your cell phone, we'll try that as well. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Let's try this. Third time, hopefully, is a charm.
Hi, Missy. This is Ed with Public Works. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hello, Ed.
Hi, hello. I just have a couple questions. So there will or will not be like a beer tent there?
Well, so I don't know if you heard when I said that or if I got cut off first, but that is really my biggest question on that. I would prefer not having a beer tent. If the space is one fluid space, I would just like to bring beer from outside of Prost out there. Like I said, I don't want to have 8 tables anymore. I just want to have like 3, just so that there's like the aesthetic of, it's weird to have a band and a grill out there and not have anybody like seating out there. So if we have one fluid space where we're allowed to walk outside of Prost patio and bring beer out there, then I would not have a beer tent out there. But if we're not allowed to do that, then I'm going to have a beer tent, which I would prefer not doing because honestly, I don't think we need it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. And I was more on the lines of asking about how that and other beverages would be served, if it's going to be cans or plastic cups or.
So same as last year of liter glasses that people buy and take with them and can reuse. Or we would offer some cans. And then we've been doing 16-ounce plastic cups as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then you said you'll have food there. I'm just curious, will that be served on like paper stuff, or do you have any reusable stuff to serve it on?
We will use our existing plateware, flatware. And then if that is not sufficient, then we would have some extra or disposable items.
Okay. All right, great. And also, I haven't looked at your application yet. Are you requesting any additional recycling bins or trash boxes?
I did request 3 trash and I think 1 recycling.
Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, I will get with you then later and we can get that figured out for sure for you. And Kelly, is Conrad on? He is. Okay, cool. All right, I'll let him ask his questions. And so, all right, thanks, Missy. That's all I have.
All right.
Shane.
Welcome back, Missy.
Hello.
I guess for this year's event, my primary question is going to revolve around your plan for the alley on the capital end.
As in people not coming through.
Correct. Are you going to barricade that?
I mean, so these are all obviously questions for me too. I don't know how it'd be any different than it is right now, considering that it's supposed to be on 8th Street.
Okay, I guess the only concern is if somebody happens to drive out there.
Okay. I mean, if you guys want me to barricade it, I could 100% barricade it.
Well, I think it probably safety-wise should be.
Okay.
I guess John can also weigh in on that, but
Okay. That makes sense.
and then I guess the only other is, do you have a notification plan for businesses?
I have that, and I was going to pass it out this week, depending on how this goes.
Okay, well, when you do, I would like a copy of that, please. Just get it to Kelly, though.
Okay, sounds good.
That's
Thank
all I
you.
got.
Thanks.
Hey, Missy, good morning. This is Natasha with Central District Health. I know you communicated some information to us yesterday, I believe. Was there notification of event provided?
So she sent that over, and I'm sending that back today.
Okay, perfect. So besides your food tent, will there be any other food vendors
Nope.
participating? Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, and I'll get that back to you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, Missy, it's Summer.
Hi,
Thank
Summer.
you for reaching out to us so much this summer. Yes, we're good with you. Once they figure out for the 10th, then I will give you your final invoice. Any
Okay.
questions for me?
Sorry there's just so many things that are different this year. So excuse
That's
me if I'm sending this to the wrong way, but is there alley access right now, like for, and I know this isn't you guys, but for porta potties to be put there in the alley?
It's not us, it's a John question.
That's a John question. Okay, I'll ask John that. Then we are good. Thank you, Summer.
You're welcome.
Hi, Missy. This is Heather from the DBA.
Hi.
Hey, I would just reiterate what Shane mentioned is making sure that you're talking to your neighbors about this, probably on that whole block, not just the ones that are going to be directly impacted, but a little further down too.
Right.
Other than that, I think we're good.
Okay.
This is Jesse with Boise Fire Department. Just a couple questions. I don't think we're going to have a problem with the footprint of what you've provided. I know you made a couple of changes to it. You said you're going to move the stage to the northern side.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible? We can deal with this. It's not that big of an issue. But would it be possible to keep the stage to the side a little bit? I think that's about 25 to 27 feet wide, the road there. And our goal is to try and maintain an access lane if we can. The tables and chairs and the barriers, those can be moved pretty easily, but the stage is a little bit more difficult to move in an emergency situation. So would it be possible to have it to the side a little bit, give us maybe 10 to 12 feet to get around it?
100%. Yep. And I actually, looking at this, are those 5 feet? Is that 5 feet between the sidewalk and our perimeter, like sufficient, I assume, from you guys?
What? No, well, yeah, because we can move those tables and chairs there and those barriers. We'd need about 10 feet to get around everything. So we could move those, but we couldn't move the stage in a very quick fashion. So that's why I'm asking if that could be put to the side a little bit.
Okay, so it probably would make more sense if I put that stage on the northeast side of the perimeter of our footprint, correct?
Yes, if that's possible, yes, that would be great.
Okay.
And then how big is your grill?
We are looking at a 48 six burner, so 48 inches wide
Okay.
or long, excuse me, wide.
Okay, just common sense things with that. Keep it away from all combustibles. Try to protect it, from, people touching it, kids coming near it, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Looks like it'll be inside a barrier there, if I'm reading the map correctly, so that hopefully won't be an issue. And then if you're going to have a beer tent, how big would that tent be?
If we have a beer tent, I mean, honestly, we don't really have a lot of room to have a beer tent out there. Another reason why I don't want to do it. So it would probably, honestly, it'd be just a jockey box. Like, I don't even know if we would put a tent. I might put it right next to the grill. Like, we don't have, this is another part of the issue of doing an event this year is obviously it's been amazing to have the addition of the sidewalks to our spaces, but obviously it's made the 8th Street corridor that we use that was already tight for doing an event on 8th Street even smaller. So to be socially responsible, I don't want it to be that big and have that much going on, but also we just can't fit that much out there with the space that we have, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, if you can follow those, just those couple recommendations, we'll be good from a fire department standpoint.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Missy Michael, Boise Police. As far as the alcohol service goes in your expanded footprint there, is that going to be via your servers or patrons bringing or attempting to bring alcohol across the sidewalk out into the festival area?
So that would be us, our staff, realistically me. So I'd be manning those tables, like do full service with the tables, take orders, and then go grab the beers and bring them out.
Okay.
I prefer like people outside staying outside.
Right. And then can you give me or refresh my memory on the times for both days?
On Friday, we were saying the street would be from 2 to 10. And then Saturday, I think we were saying 12 to 10. I know I sound like I have question marks at the end of all of my statements, but there are still a lot of unknowns.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thanks.
So question for you on that one then. Are you guys cool with this footprint of cutting off technically our sidewalk and creating that one space?
That is not a question for me. As long as the patrons aren't bringing the alcohol across the sidewalk, you're bringing it out with either yourself or a server. Because we're not at the festival ordinance yet with regard to transfer of alcohol from the establishment out into the footprint.
Okay.
But I don't think the sidewalk can be closed.
Well, technically our patio is the sidewalk now. So I guess that's my question of what, like on the map here right now, it essentially shows our footprint for our festival space is connected to our sidewalk patio access.
So with regard to the consumption, you would have to close the sidewalk or have controlled access on the north and south ends of it for the designated area for consumption.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna hit you.
Or just have your servers bring the alcohol out into the footprint, and that's your designated area with controlled access there.
Okay.
That
All
makes
right.
sense.
Yes. If I might have to follow up on you, but I'll do that on the side.
no
Thank
problem.
you. Appreciate it.
Lieutenant Hill, just quickly, if they're just expanding their footprint and there is no space in between and the sidewalk is on the other side and accessible, do they need to have servers or are they okay with just bringing it straight out? Sorry.
Are you talking about servers or patrons?
Patrons. If
Patrons
there's,
they wouldn't be able to bring the alcohol out unless the sidewalk was part of the designated area.
and I think that is currently the sidewalk is part of their designated
So it would-
licensed footprint. And so they would just be extending that. There would be no gaps and there would be no sidewalk through. So that's why I was just wanting to clarify that piece. So where the blue is their existing footprint that's good through April of, I think, next year. And they're just looking at extending that for their event space. And so it would all be contained.
Okay, yeah, as long as it's contained, that fits. Sure.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. Appreciate that.
Good morning, Missy. This is Rachel with Emergency Management. Thank you for the legwork. And I know we've worked with you before in the past and always had a great event. So really, all I'm hoping for is that we can get that final layout that you guys are going to be working on so we can ensure that we have that to provide to any of the resources that may need to respond down into that footprint. And then whatever the decision is about that alley access. So that's really all I need from you, and just, I appreciate everything you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
So Missy, just to clarify, are you understanding you got the answer that you need, that you do not need a beer booth?
I do not need a beer booth, correct.
Okay.
But it has to be me or my staff that are bringing beers outside.
If the footprint is fully contained,
Okay,
then any patrons can do that, correct?
Yes.
a silver lining of COVID. Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to reiterate that
Okay.
on the record. And then obviously you do need to keep the proper sidewalk width for patrons to get into Wild Route for their hours. So it might be helpful for you just to have a volunteer kind of assisting with that, so people don't get mixed up on that north side of the footprint.
Okay.
Kind of help monitor that a little bit. And yes, an updated map would be very helpful now that you kind of have a better idea of some things that you can do. And then, yes, thank you for bearing with us between changes from the pandemic, everybody being a little bit rusty. You don't realize what 2 years of non-event planning can do to a crew, which I'm sure you're feeling some pain on that as well. And yeah, just the city growing and changes that are happening. So year to year, it's a new adventure for all of us. So we appreciate you hashing out all those details. And I'm going to go ahead and call down the event organizer, or excuse me, the event team departments, so they can chime in and get the rest of the answers for you.
Okay.
All right. So John Wasson with Ada County Highway District.
Good morning. How is everybody today?
Hello, John.
So I would recommend that the city talk with their ADA compliance coordinator with regards to the sidewalk issues, because those sidewalks are not controlled by ACHD. You can certainly place the porta potties in the alley, but if you do, the alley has to be closed at Capitol and it has to be closed at 9th Street. There's just not enough room for somebody to step out of the alley and or step out of a porta potty and not get hit by a vehicle. And this is not holy moly, so we can't really permit that. So if you want to put the porta potties in the alley, we have to close the alley. If you want to put them on the street, we don't have to close the alley, and that's going to have to be a decision that the city's going to have to make for delivery access for the businesses in that area.
Question real quick.
Yeah.
So Rusty, what is, like, if we had an extra, 20 people, 30 people outside, what is the amount of people that you have to start bringing in the porta potties? Do you understand what I'm asking?
And that's a question for the health department? No? Missy, could you ask that again?
Yes. I'm asking how many people need to be at the event. We obviously have we have 2 bathrooms inside, 1 ADA compliant. How many people need to be at the event outside to require extra porta potty.
Hey, Missy, this is Natasha with Central District Health. We have a document online, and Kieran, who you communicated with, can provide that for you. That would help you estimate the number of people, a number of porta potties, depending on the number of people.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hard for me to say just off the top of my head. It's quite, there's a lot of numbers there to take into consideration. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. So I will deal with that.
Anything else, John?
No, I don't think so. I just need to know if we're going to shut that alley down or not, and I'll need to know that here in the next week or so. If Missy can please let me know.
Okay. I would really prefer not to if we don't have to, because I just feel like it's by having to do those extra closures. So we will have to figure that out. Thank you.
There might be concern with people congregating and waiting in line for the porta potties too, if they're in the alley. So, and then just another thing to keep in mind, if that alley is closed, we need to ensure the residents above you have ways to get in and out of their parking garage during that time. So we'll work with you on all of that.
Okay.
Missy, this is Maria. Kelly, we should check in with Sierra too on the ADA question about closing the sidewalk.
Perfect. Okay. Conrad with Republic Services.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Kelly. Good morning, Missy.
Good morning.
I apologize. I missed the introductions, but yes, I'm Conrad McDaniel with Republic Services. It just, I remember we've talked about this in the past, but I need a refresher. Pros normal business operations, what dumpsters do they use there?
We have the dumpsters that are in the enclosed parking garage right off of Bannock, inside of Parklands. You know,
Okay.
Across from the post office.
Okay, yep. And so those are under Park Lane then, right?
Correct.
Okay, great. So to save time, I'm not going to look up what their current situation is, but you might talk to Park Lane management, give them a heads up that there's going to be an not unexpected, but there's going to be an abnormal rush of trash and recycling this weekend on top of normal business operations, and they may consider ordering an extra dump before or after.
I guarantee you they will have me order an extra one, so we will be in.
Okay, perfect. That's really my only question.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Conrad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie with Valley Regional Transit.
Morning. I just want to confirm the closure starts at noon on a Friday for 8th Street.
Correct.
Okay, so then we will have to make a detour on Friday, but there will be no issues on Saturday.
Okay.
I just wanted to confirm that.
Okay.
So Leslie, just to clarify, so 8th Street is already closed. So will this really have an impact to any of the bus routes?
It's closed on Fridays at noon right now.
8th Street is closed to pedestrian traffic only between Bannock and Main, I believe, are the streets.
Correct.
We take 8th, I think we're between Bannock and Jefferson, so we may be clear there then.
So the cross streets of Idaho and Maine will remain open, as will
Okay.
Bannock. It's just that section of 8th Street, which is already currently closed. So just wanted to make sure
Okay.
we clarified that.
Okay, then we're good.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sydney with City Risk Management.
Sorry, trying to find my mute button. I don't have anything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I did get everyone, Maria, so.
Great, Missy. Thank you so much. I think we owe you some follow-ups. And if you, after today's meeting, could think about submitting a new map with your recommendations based on what Jesse said with fire emplacement and your thoughts about not having 8 tables as soon as we get back to you on the porta potties and the ADA access, that'd be great.
100%.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
And you are free to listen into the rest of this scintillating meeting or sign off and get to the rest of your day.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's time. Have a good day.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have 2 runs put on by the YMCA. I think we have Allison here to talk about both of them. Let's go through them, Allison, one at a time, starting with Harrison Classic Kids Run. And if you wouldn't mind making sure that you touch on the COVID precautions that you're putting in place with runs. I mean, we do know that outside is much, I guess, in air quotes, safer than inside, but also runs tend to congregate people who are not wearing masks. And so we've got a particular interest in how run organizers are providing additional distance between runners at the starts of races. And I think in particular with the Harrison Classic, since it's kids, there's going to be a lot of concern there. So we'd love to hear your thinking around that.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. I will just address that right off the start. At this point, where we are in the area of the pandemic and with kids and not being able to be vaccinated, we are going to be asking all family and kids to be masked in the starting area. And we will ask them to be masked for universal masking. So whether you're vaccinated or not, for those adults, and then as well as kids. So at that point, they'll be masked in the starting area. And then as we get ready to run, we're hoping that we can divide the kids by age groups like we already do. And we're going to lengthen those waves. Usually it's about 5 minutes apart. We're going to push them to 15 and have, those 7-year-olds will go first. And then those 6-year-olds will go second, and they'll be only showing up 15 minutes before their actual time. Logistically, it could be interesting, but we will ask them to wear a mask until they go and they start running. We are looking at adding a virtual option to this for kids that are more comfortable doing it from home or at school. So that way people who would like to participate but feel safer not coming down to the event are able to do that as well. This meeting, I was hoping to get some more clarification on what, if there are any specific restrictions for kids or not kids, but events with children and how we can accommodate that. As the YMCA, we're very conscious of making sure we're responsible to the community for these events and want to make sure everyone stays safe. So are there any other questions about COVID that I could answer about how we're going to do some of that? I have some in my slideshow, but not a ton, because honestly, I wanted to hear what you guys thought and take some recommendations from you.
No, I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and start with the slideshow and see what you're thinking. And then as we go around the room, some additional questions might come up. Just recognizing that we're in a very play it by ear, day by day period of time right now with this pandemic. And I should have also noted at the beginning of the meeting, we've had several events opt to cancel or go all virtual as well. So we're playing it by ear with our event organizers as well. So why don't you start with the slideshow and we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. So we would really like to get back to in-person events for these kids. We are hoping to do our normal event that we've been doing in the past. I assume without question that we will have less participants. Last year, we had over, this is from 2018, but in 2019, we had 1,200 kids at least. And then in 2020, we did virtual, and we had about 300 to 400 kids throughout the valley that did it virtually. So that was really fun. We've been doing it for over 30 years. The goal of the event is to participate, make new friends, and get active. All the finishers will receive their medal, their t-shirts, and then a healthy prepackaged snack. We won't have any foods that will be prepared there on site or anything. We still, even last year, we gave out those awards to schools that had the most participants. We did reduce it last year to 1 award for the most kids, and it actually was a school that's never won any of our awards for the Harrison Classic before. So that was really exciting for us. We will encourage universal mask wearing for adults and require kids under 12 to wear masks until they are actually running. So that is our plan at this point. We'll have bananas, cheese sticks, and granola bars that we would, in a fruit pouch that we would hand out in a bag. And at the finish line, which I'll show a map of, we've kind of adjusted that. We will hand them their medal, or give them their medal, give them their fruit snack, and send them on their way, which is unfortunate, but it's safer that way without having a bounce house and all the kids gathering. We are hoping to have a photo booth that kids could go through. It will be open air, so they just go over and stand in front and do some fun things, and they'll get a film strip. And we will kind of decide as we get closer if that still works. So, and then we'll have bottles of water, no cups or anything like that, just bottles that they can take. We work with all of the entities to make this safe on Harrison Boulevard, with Boise Police, and then the Boise Motor Escort Service and REACT, and tons of volunteers to keep the road safe for those kids. We will be shutting it down, and I'll show that in a second, from 2:45 until about 4:45. And we've adjusted the plan in the past 2 years to make it so that Hill Road stays open, so there's traffic can flow a little better than it had in the past. And then we'll also do some notices, and I think that's on my next slide, but we do provide notices on all the neighbors' houses and signs in the area to let people know it's coming. I think this is where we have that. So the event starts at 3. We usually close the road from north to south on Harrison at 2:45. The cross traffic is allowed until we actually start the kids. They're not allowed to turn, but they can go back and forth from east to west on Hill Road, as well as all those side streets. We use Boise Police. We use Boise Motor Escort. We're going to have 7 waves of kids, so boys on one side and girls on the other, and we were going to span it out 15 minutes between each wave. My thinking now, as we get a little closer, we might just do boys go and then girls go, just so we're spaced out a little more at the finish line. It's still something we're trying to logistically come up with a safe way. So the finish line will be on Good Street, and you'll see a map here in a second. And we use the parking lot of the dental office there, and Good Street, the road. And it's closed to traffic and from entering from Hill Road. At the all the side streets and intersections along Harrison Boulevard, we have flaggers, which are actually our volunteers that are there to manage the kids, keeping them going straight. And also we have barricades to block the traffic from those streets on either side of Harrison Boulevard, just to be safe and have that extra precaution. There is signage that goes up, and that's at each intersection from Reservoir all the way to Hill Road. This is the intersection, and I'll show you a better photo of this. Is 15th and Hayes area. So we do close 15th, or at 15th as it comes into Harrison off of Hayes. We close that with Boise PD. We have a flashing light for traffic to slow down. Typically, John might correct me if I'm wrong there. And then we also have flaggers and a traffic control company that helps us with that. So This is the starting area. As you see, it'll be pretty quiet. We're gonna have restrooms, packet pickup starting, and then off they go. There won't be much else to do in the area, just so that we can have people show up and collect their packet if they hadn't get it. We will have packet pickup 2 days beforehand, so that Thursday and Friday, and possibly Saturday, depending on how people are picking up and how many we have. So we don't have a crowd there, and then they'll start and run out. And here we will have a DJ just playing music. He doesn't do anything but announce like, oh, they're coming through. We'll have their medals, the finish line, restrooms, where they pick up their snack and their water, and possibly the photo booth, and then they exit out. So they would put their masks back on as they come through the finish line. And that's where we would have extra masks available, so that we could give those out to them to have them put them back on. We'll put out notices 2 weeks beforehand. We do give every neighbor a notice on their door, and we put them out in the area throughout the north end. Usually we have great reception from the neighbors. They're happy to be a part of it. And then the trash and recycling plan, I get a dumpster and a recycling bin, as you can see on the finish line map here. It's that green and blue over there off of, I think, 17th is the street. We put it along the side of the dental office on the road there. And 10 boxes might be too much for the amount of people we have, depending on what happens. So that'll either be 10 recycling or trash, or maybe 5. So, but I'll talk with Ed about that. And then that's just the course map. It starts straight down to, starts at Residue and all the way down Harrison. And we're really hoping we can make it happen. And it really will just depend on how things go. So that's the end of the slideshow. So I'll stop sharing, and I'm happy to answer questions and take suggestions on how we can make this happen.
Great. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate the thought you've given to spacing and reducing crowd size. And if there's other recommendations, I'll defer to Natasha on that. But Ed, why don't you go ahead and start?
Hi, Allison. Good morning.
Good morning.
So yeah, this is Ed with Public Works. Yeah, no, do you have your own trash boxes and recycling bins? Okay.
We have our own trash boxes, but not recycling.
Okay.
And the water bottles from Coca-Cola, I believe, are the ones that can be recycled. So we try to get the recycle bins for those.
Yes, thank you. I do. I definitely do appreciate that. So yeah, I can. I'll get you those recycling bins, and we can just talk about it over email. But yeah, you always have a pretty clean event. So I have really nothing else.
Great, thank you.
Welcome back, Allison.
Hi, Shane. How are you?
I'm well. The only thing I will be looking at is your notification once you get that to Kelly. So we'll be good.
Okay, great. I already made a note.
Thank you.
Hi, Allison. This is Natasha with Central District Health. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
So just taking into consideration the food items that will be provided, looks like everything, the process is going to be very straightforward for you. So just like in the past, you submit your notification of event to us and an application. Okay?
Yes, that sounds great.
Thank you. Yes. So as far as COVID safety goes, thank you so much for considering universal masking and having masks available to those who perhaps arrive without. I would also recommend to have a plan in place if someone gets sick at your event.
So like a contact tracing type of plan, you mean?
What would you do if, let's say, someone starts exhibiting symptoms? How would you isolate that person? What would be the plan of action? Okay. And if you have any questions for me, I can definitely be of, provide any help I can possibly provide. So also, as you come closer to the date of your event, be in tune with the current levels of community transmission. Okay, so that would be very important factor to determine whether or not to have this event in place. Okay, so, and of course, definitely do your best of promoting healthy behaviors amongst attendees by perhaps creating messaging around safety measures such as masking and physical distancing. Okay, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Yes, I will. And one thing I did not include in there that we have for Famous Potato that I will have for this event and the next one, but signage with that. If you're exhibiting symptoms, please do not come. That goes out in an email ahead of time to participants. And when they register, they get our COVID health pledge and things like that, which I can share with you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Allison.
Hi, Allison. I have your payment for that and we're hoping for it. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Summer.
Hi, I'm Heather with the DBA. I just really appreciate the 2-week notification to the residents in that area. And I think using next door is a great idea. So I think we're good.
Thanks.
Thank you, Allison. Jesse with Boise Fire, we have no issues. Looks good.
Allison, Mike Hill, Boise Police. Geez, almost went fire on that. I'm going to check to Sergeant Konvalenko with the traffic plans.
Great, thank you. And I'm hoping to get a manpower agreement from him for that.
Yes, we'll get you the manpower agreement. I was just curious, you said you'll have BME and React thing?
Typically, we have 6 BME as well as React volunteers out on the course to help monitor those intersections. And then BME helps at Hill Road and Harrison just to make sure traffic is flowing. And they kind of go from the 2 officers that are there. However, they help us clear the road beforehand and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll wait to look at the traffic plan when I get a better view of it, except for on iPhone. And then, but we'll get you the manpower agreement.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Allison. It's Rachel with Emergency Management. As always, great event. You do such a good job of putting everything together. So really we'll just be working with police and medics, and I may have missed this, so I apologize. Did you have a plan for first aid or medical support?
We do. We'll have our lifeguards from the Y at the start and the finish. And we not last year, the year before, we had a golf cart. So it helped to be able to get out onto the course just to make sure we were able to get to anyone who needed it. So, and then the DJ is our lost and found, like lost parent establishment at both locations at the start and the finish. But if I haven't got the plan to you, I will, but that's typically what we do, is have our lifeguards on duty at both start and finish line.
That's wonderful. I appreciate that. We'll just make sure that the plan gets it over to Ada County paramedics, and then we get a copy of it just to ensure that you have that on site. And then also with that, Linda from paramedics is always making sure that we put this out there for all events, is to download Pulse Point if you haven't already, so that your team can monitor that. And then those resources will work with the on-site resources should you need anything at that time. So we'll just wait for an update from PD on what that's going to look like. And then we will go ahead and communicate out that final route and traffic control plan to the rest of the emergency resources that may need it.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you.
Hi, Allison. Kelly with the City Clerk's Office. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you virtually.
I know. Better than last year, that's for sure. But We're getting through it. Thank you for your continued communication and questions and inquiries, just to make sure that you are doing everything you can to keep the community safe. Obviously, lots of fun things for the kids to keep them going in these hard times. So definitely appreciate that. I don't have anything. If you need anything from me, you know where to find me.
Okay.
And I will go ahead and just go through the participants that are on Zoom so they can address any issues or questions. Let's see. So, Ada County Highway District, John Lawson.
Hello, Allison. How are you doing today?
I'm good, John. Good to see you.
Always a wonderful event. Never a problem. Are you going to have a traffic control plan for me soon?
Yes, I will.
Do you have any idea when? We have plenty of time. We've got a month and a half.
Yep. I would hope next week. They seem to be busy with road work ahead, but hopefully in the next week and a half.
Okay. Then we'll just wait to see the traffic control plan, but this is never a big issue. This is always a great event.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Conrad with Republic Services.
Thank you, Kelly. Hi, Allison.
Hi, Conrad.
I started my video, but it's not. There we go.
Oh.
That helps. Yeah, just a couple easy questions. Like the Idaho potato race, you had put 10 yards for this race as well, which we don't offer. So I just want to confirm you meant 8 yards.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yep. And I'm having trouble opening the Boise City special events packet. So I can't see, but do you already have a dumpster permit to put those in the streets from ACHD?
I do not have that yet. But I will work on that. I know how I can do that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, we'll need that.
Okay, great.
To cover the weekend. And then on that note, question for Shane Anderson. I don't believe there's meters there, but I just want to confirm. Okay, I trust you.
Not, Conrad.
Okay. All right, thank you both. That's all I have.
And we do get permission from the dental office to place them as well. So.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. You don't have to. It's not their street, but that's polite.
Thanks, Conrad.
Thank you.
Leslie with Valley Regional Transit.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Sydney with City Risk Management.
We have everything we need. Thank you, Allison.
All right. We're good.
Great. Thank you so much, Allison. Let's go ahead and move to the Halloween Monster Mile and Freaky 5K.
Okay. And just before I go to Harrison or to Halloween, we probably will have a decision about what we're going to do, if we are going to remain in person and virtual or for like a hybrid event, or if we're going to go to fully virtual in the next 2 weeks. We will definitely keep you guys posted, and we're open to any information that you guys have or suggestions along those lines. We're definitely monitoring the situation here at the Y as well. So
great, thank you.
Okay, let me share again and see. Get out of that one. This one. So this event is the Halloween run. We are doing it the week before Halloween so that people have the opportunity to come out and do it and have something to do before that weekend. So if they want to be in their neighborhoods and things like that, hopefully they can be. We are going to be using the parks at Ann Morrison. We're hoping for in-person and virtual. We just spoke with our sponsor. Again, we may be going all virtual with this one as things move forward. We're taking into consideration the sponsors stand with vaccination and being fully vaccinated, things like that. So we're working with them, but at this point, we're hoping to move forward with in-person and some virtual options. So It's just a way to offer the community a fun, healthy activity for Halloween. We do a Monster Mile and a 5K, have Halloween contests. It is for youth and families. And again, we will be asking for universal mask wearing for everyone in the area. And when they are running, they're welcome to take their masks off when they're running on the greenbelt. And then when they come back in, they would have to put them back on. We're not sure about our food vendors yet. Most likely it will be a prepackaged thing. In the past, we've had sponsors that actually brought in the food, excuse me. And, but like Chobani or Albertsons, but we're not sure yet what we're gonna do. We'll have bottled water again. I believe our only other vendor will be the photo booth again. We're not gonna do a bouncy house or any other activities where they can kind of gather and hang out too much. We're just gonna bring them in and get their medals and send them on their way again. This is our setup in the park, which is awesome. We're not on the road. We get to use our beautiful green belt. We'll be in Ann Morrison. We use that parking lot area. We have porta potties, shirts, packets. They start and finish right there. So the 1 mile starts at 4:30 and we wait to start the 5K until all of those 1 milers are back. We do lights at our water stations and hand out glow sticks just to make it kind of fun. It definitely is not dark. It's just kind of that twilight light that makes it so fun. Volunteers along the course will have lighting as well in case someone is having trouble seeing. So we'll make sure that everyone can see. And we do use the bridge, as you see on the course. We use one of the bridges that has the lights on it with the railroad trestle bridge. So that's super fun. I believe we do. This might be, maybe that's for the 1 mile. And we also will be requesting parking from the towers lot so that people have parking, because there won't be enough, depending on if we're in person, in the park. And here's that 9th Street Bridge with the lights that the 1 milers get to have. So super fun. The parking here where it's listed, we used to be able to use the Count building. I don't know if that'll be where that lot anymore. We'll see. We requested it last year or 2 years ago. So we'll make sure that we talk to them about that. So that is that course. And there's just a fun photo back when we got to be all together and run. We will be starting this event, if we are in person, in waves as well, with the 1 milers starting probably 15 minutes apart, depending on how many we have. And we would start just 2 different waves and letting them stay. And that's why we would let them all finish before we started the 5K. And then we would do the same thing with them. The other thing that we would be doing is we would definitely have the signage as well. And with our restrooms, we have our hand sanitizers everywhere, and just remind everyone to mask up when they come back into the finish line. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of that.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep.
Perfect. Ready for questions? Yep. Go ahead.
Hey, Allison, it's Ed again. So yeah, I'm assuming you'll be providing your own trash boxes again. How many recycling bins are you requesting?
I believe I might have recycled or requested 5.
Okay.
Because that's it. We're not expecting, we'll see. As my numbers increase, I definitely would add more.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that, I mean, we can add or decrease based on attendance that you see. So that won't be a problem at all. And I did forget to mention last time is, I don't know, have I sent you our new recycling signs?
Oh, no, because we've made our own for those bottles. So if you have some, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll make sure and send you the PDF. And they're just our updated new signs. So but yeah, other than that, again, lovely event, and yeah, have fun. Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't have anything for this one, Allison.
Hi, Alison. This is Natasha, Central District Health. So when you finalize your food service and know what you're going to be serving, please let us know. So you will either need to fill out an application or not, depends on what's going to be served. Okay, and again, my recommendations for COVID safety are pretty much the same. If you need any help or have any questions, feel free to reach out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We're good to go again, Allison. And just so you know that the restrooms will be winterized past that on the 15th of October. So you'll just be down a couple, but I saw you have porta potties. So
yep.
That's
Sounds
it.
good. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, I don't have anything for this one. Okay, thanks.
Allison, no issues from Boise Fire again. Thank you.
Allison, Mike Hill, Boise Police. I don't see where we've staffed this in the past, and unless you request some officer presence, I think we're good to go.
Great. Thank you.
Hey, Allison, same question as before, just kind of wondering what your first aid setup is going to be like.
Same as before with Harrison. We do have our lifeguards on hand. We make sure that we have first aid set up and they have an area that's marked on the map, and then they stay there. We also are able to go out on the course in a golf cart to make sure we can get to anyone if we need to. And there's first aid at the water station.
Awesome. Wonderful. That really does it for us. Just making sure that we have your route and your schedule and we'll be good to go. So thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Hi, Allison, Kelly with the clerk's office. I don't have anything again, but of course, I'm always willing to help out with communication back and forth and whatever you need. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. John, go ahead.
Nothing from ACHD. It's not in the right of way and it's always a great event. So thank you.
Okay, perfect. Conrad with Republic Services.
Hello again. It's pretty much the same two questions. 8 yards instead of 10 yards?
Yep.
Okay. And then actually a question for Summer. Are you good with the placement of these dumpsters?
Yep. Yes, we are.
All right, we're all set. Thank you.
Thanks.
Leslie with Valley Regional Transit.
Nothing from us.
Perfect. Sydney from City Risk Management.
Nothing for us either.
Okay, great. That is everyone.
Great. Thank you so much, Allison. Thank you for taking all of this into account and playing it by ear with us and thinking about ways to have these events back in our community in the safest way possible.
Great. Thank you. And I just, since you're all here and I know Famous Potatoes on the review for the next part of the meeting, we have posted and advertised and sent out emails that we are requiring people to be fully vaccinated with proof and with their photo ID to enter the area for that event, or a negative test within 48 hours of race day. So we are holding strong, about 1,200 people, and about 100 of those are already virtual, but we are offering full refunds to anyone who is not willing to comply so that we can keep the people that do come safe. We're working on our staggered starts for the 5K, 10K. The full marathon and the half marathon are much smaller than they normally are, and they start out at Sandy Point, so that'll be good. But we're doing everything we can to try and make it safe. So let us know if you have thoughts or ideas, and we appreciate you guys working with us. So we're excited to hopefully have some events.
That's great. Thank you. All right. So the next part of our agenda, just to be real clear about process, we're not voting anybody on or off the island today. This isn't a voting body, but we do have several events that still have pending approvals, a couple of them right around the corner this weekend. So just wanted to go through the list quickly and see if anyone around the room had any specific information that they were waiting on for any of these events: Boise Pride Fest, Art in the Park, Boise Contemporary Theater Gala or the famous Idaho Potato Marathon. Allison has done a great job with that. But I think in particular, the first two, which are set for this weekend, I think we have heard quite a bit about what Boise Pride Fest has in place for COVID protocols. Natasha, I don't know if you've worked any more closely with Art in the Park about what they may or may not be doing, but just wanted to open up the floor for any pending approvals.
And I did just want to remind people that signing off in the system, yes, it does take it off your dashboard, but even if you just comment that you're good to go, that's helpful for me to not have to chase down every sign off and email and call and everything. So even just commenting in the event that you are signing off is very helpful.
So we have everything we need for the Boise Pride and Arts in the Park, and their COVID safety is pretty robust. But just those discussions happened. Have not heard from Boise Contemporary Theater Gala, and have not heard from YMCA Famous Idaho Potato Marathon.
Good on both events, or all the events from a police standpoint. Staffing's in progress, still on Pride Fest. Art in the Park is staffed and Potato Marathon is staffed.
So still waiting on, and maybe John can answer this, on the final traffic control plan for Pride Fest so that we can add that to the packet for the resources that are working that day. We do have everything from Pride at this point, and then we'll be working on trying to coordinate what resources we do know that will be down there with the other resources. And just as an addition, Boise Fire has offered up a Squad 5, which is a UTV with two, a medic and a paramedic, to also help in the downtown core to support medical calls, because we are going to have so much overlap on Saturday. And then the only other one on Art in the Park is we do have all the information and we've coordinated that. So we'll just make sure that gets out to the resources so they know ingress, egress routes.
For the Boise Philharmonic and the Contemporary Theater, ACHD is good to go unless they decide to close Fulton Street, because they haven't put in a request for that. And we just got the last of the stuff in for Pride Fest, so we will be able to send that out as approved today and get that traffic control plan to police, fire, and the emergency preparedness office today.
For Republic Services, I think I just have the Idaho Potato Race not yet approved. It's pretty close. Allison's aware of this. I just need the agreement signed by Albertsons, acknowledging that dumpsters will be in the parking lot.
DBA, I have received communication plans from Boise Pride Fest and Art in the Park, so we're good to go on those. I have not received anything from the Contemporary Gala Theater or Contemporary Theater Gala, but I'm not sure that's too necessary since it's after hours and their neighbors, I'm sure, know what's going on. And it's a smaller event. And then Kelly, if you have anything from the famous Idaho Potato Marathon regarding a comp plan, I don't know if you have that or not, but I haven't seen anything come through.
I'll make a note and verify that and get it over if I do.
Okay, great. That's all.
The Parks Department can sign off for Boise Pride Fest, Art in the Park. We don't need to sign off for Boise Contemporary Theater, and we're good to go for the famous Idaho Potato Marathon.
As Jesse with Boise Fire, we're good to go on all three of these.
This is Public Works, Ed. I'm good with all four as well.
Boise City Parking is good with Pride Fest and Art in the Park. We have talked to the Contemporary Theater. I don't know what their plan is for getting in and out of there if they do not close the road through the county, so otherwise we cannot ensure there won't be vehicles in there.
So sorry to backtrack, Natasha, could I ask that you repeat what you were waiting for from Central District Health? And can you speak more into the mic because we can't hear you and it's not picking up on the recording either? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we are good to go with Boise Pride Fest and Art in the Park. Have everything we need. Do need to hear from Boise Contemporary Theater Gala and Famous Idaho Potato Marathon.
Thank you.
All right, and then just a reminder, we have after action reports that are just as important as what we do ahead of time so that we can make sure that the recommendations and requirements were followed and give us a good record moving forward. So reminder that we have a couple due at the end of this month, Boise Hemp Fest, the Albertson Boise Open Concert Series, the Firk and Frolic Beer Festival, and Boise Goat Head Festival at the end of September. And then due by the end of October, although I would encourage folks to do it a little earlier while it's still fresh of mind, is the Spirit of Boise Balloon Classic. And then Kelly, I think with that, we just have a calendar review before we adjourn.
And there are lots of changes. Rachel and I are working on getting things updated in SharePoint, and we can send over an update so everybody has it just to match up with the emails that went out yesterday for things that are going virtual and changing. Anything else, Rachel, that you want to add on that or? Good. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Great. And with that, we're adjourned. We'll see everyone in a couple of weeks.